This is CG Ruthless Sports. I will be brutally honest. Ain't nothing but being brutally honest. Coming at you with another video.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Jamie Winborn. What's up, man?
What's going on, baby? Speed limit in the building. Yeah.
Speed limit in the building, but unfortunately, JP wasn't able to make it, but in the near future, he'll be back. But hey, that's not the point. We got the speed limit in the building.
Absolutely, baby. I'm here live effect, baby. Ready for it all.
Yeah, you are, man. So, man, you know what's exciting about this year is the Hall of Fame. Brian Young got in, man. What was your reaction to that?
Man, I was so happy, man. I was like, it's about time. I mean, the guy's only been a beast his entire career or what have you, but, I had some crazy stuff go on with that. I was supposed to, go there. I'd seen Brian at Jimmy Williams' funeral, and he invited me to come up there and all that. And I get to the airport that day, the day before, and the airline ended up moving my flight back, saying that they couldn't fly me to get me there before, the event started, but they could get me to Cleveland at like 11 o'clock the next night. So I was highly heated. So I ended up missing him, being inducted there. I was supposed to be there, man. But Brian is, man, he's just a Class A dude, man. All the way down from the way he approaches the game to the man he is off the field. And, obviously the man he's become, man. He's just a phenomenal person, man. Real talk.
He's a well-spoken leader. Doesn't say a lot of bad things, man. This guy is a well-respected for a reason, and he plays the game at the highest level. So it's like he was long overdue for a Hall of Fame, and there's just other guys that don't put the traits like the way he does it. He brings great leadership. Like, he'll definitely elevate everybody around him.
Yeah, I mean, BY, man, you know what you're getting from BY every day, every week, every Sunday. You know what I mean? Bryant's one of those people that, say there's commotion on the team, people are fighting out there, whatever. I remember one time Bryant just said, "Hey," and it just sounded like God had just spoken, and everybody, I mean, people weren't even close to us. Everybody just stopped. Coaches, everybody shut up. Like,
he's speaking.
BY is talking. He's like, just get it together, man, fellas. We got a goal. We got to get to it. And, we understood where he was coming from. And, when a guy like Bryant says something, it's just totally respected. And and you definitely don't want to piss him off. He's a monster.
He's a monster. Yeah. Like, it's kind of like if you piss him off, you're in trouble. Like,
yeah. I mean, he's one of the greats, man. And one of the reasons I really, really love BY, honestly, and this is just from me, I came in, my job was to run around and make plays. That's what my job was. And I was only able to do that, when I wasn't injured or something, because I had guys like Bryant Young in front of me and Dana Stubblefield. I'll never forget Bryant telling me one time, like, "Look, man, I love the energy you bring to us. You just run around and make plays. I'm going to keep these guys off of you." And I was like, well, shit, that's easy enough. Let's go. I mean, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, that's why I was able to have success like I did, was because I had guys like him and Dana Stubblefield in front of me telling me, when Dana Stubblefield and Brian Young say to you, "Hey, man, you just run around and make plays. That's what we expect of you." Hey, man, the coaches, nobody could tell me anything at that point. I felt like, hey, the two biggest leaders on this team just told me to run around and make plays. So that's what I'm going to do. And that was a great feeling, man. Yeah, man, they made my job real easy.
Yeah, it does, and he's a well-deserved guy. He should have been in like years ago at least. I mean, he had opportunities, but they let other D tackles take the spots. But it's good that he finally got it. But speaking of a teammate of yours that you played throughout your career, Jimmy Williams, man, that was a tragic story that I've heard of, and it caught me by surprise because I haven't heard this guy in years. But I'm pretty sure you got a lot of interesting Jimmy Williams stories, man.
Yeah, Jimmy, man. Like I said, I met Jimmy. He was the first guy I met at Vanderbilt, and we hit it off instantly, man. I met him at a Wendy's parking lot. Him and his mom and his dad. His mom's had passed on not too long ago, and before Jimmy passed, and we just hit it off right from the beginning. And we were all over campuses, our campus, TSU, Fitzmaurice. I mean, we're like this, man. You know what I mean? And we've been like that all of our lives, as far as knowing each other. And then I got the opportunity to play with him at San Francisco when he come over from the Bills. I told him, hey man, don't even worry about it. I got a place for us to, I got, you can live with me. Don't worry about nothing. You could drive whatever cars you want. You good, until you get your family and stuff situated up here or whatever. Because I knew he was going to be a direct impact to the team. I mean, the guy was so talented. I have no clue what happened within the draft on why he was drafted in the 6th round. But that, how that's kind of funny anyway with the draft, but he was always a tremendous player. I mean, and anybody knows anything about Jimmy, he was a lively person, always smiling, dancing around, you know what I mean? Every day at practice, he's got something different about his uniform on. And, one of those guys that make you just ask yourself, what the hell am I mad for in life? What am I doing? Or why am I not, you have to ask yourself that, because how is it that this guy every day is just a happy-go-lucky guy at practice or wherever he's at? He's just living a good life. And, obviously he went on to Seattle, ended up playing in Super Bowl. They had a really good career with them. And then he went down there to back to his hometown, Episcopal High School, to help coach the kids, man. And he did a phenomenal job with them. I mean, you should have saw, at the funeral, the respect and the amount of kids that he touched. I know when they asked the kids if they'd ever been coached by Jimmy Williams to stand up, I mean, it's probably 40, 50 guys in there, from different age ranges stood up. And I mean, I could do nothing but just cry about it, because he touched so many people. And like I said, we talked about it one time when he was having health issues. And I actually said, hey man, I think maybe you're doing too much or whatever. And he was like, coach, these kids are what make me keep going. And, I had nothing but respect for him for that, because he knew he was suffering. He was in pain, everything, but he wasn't trying to let those kids see it. And he was trying to send a message to people to keep fighting in life, no matter what you're going through. And that's the legacy that he left. And obviously left his wife, Chandra, and his son, Ace, behind. And a lot of other people, his dad. But Jimmy was great guy.
Very great guy for you. Like, I mean, he was touching for the players where they just played for him, and he just didn't let it get in the way of what was going on. But when you played in college, wasn't there like an interesting story you told me like backstage?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Me and Jimmy, we actually got suspended together. We did everything together. If I made all SEC or something like that, he made it. We All American, Jimmy, we did everything together, including getting in trouble, which, we got suspended at Vanderbilt. We had 2 expeditions. Jimmy had a blue one, which he still had to this day when he died. And I had a green one. And my other buddy, Doyle Crosby, was defensive end, had one as well. But for some reason, obviously me and Jimmy were the 2, high profile guys on the team. And they thought that we'd gotten, some kind of handout or something up with these cars, which definitely wasn't the case. We put down payments on these cars and we had jobs. Everything was legit. But after they ended up doing a long investigation against us. or about us. I won't say against us, but about us. And only to find out the only thing that they could find wrong was that Jimmy Williams and I received $175 worth of free financial advice. So we were both suspended for the first 2 games of the season as a result of that.
Man, and they couldn't find nothing else but the financial advice.
Listen, and you think that's crazy. Let me tell you what's really – so I still wanted to support my team. I remember we were playing Alabama, University of Alabama, and Jimmy, I wanted to ride with the team on the bus, which I didn't know was breaking the rules or what have you. So Jimmy was like, man, I ain't even gonna drive. I'm gonna just drive down, and I think he and his wife, it wasn't his wife at the time, but Chandra, went down and they just sat in the stands and stuff like normal fans. So I'm on the way down on the bus with the team, and I remember they pulled like 4 or 5 buses over at a 7-Eleven and told me I had to get off the bus because it was breaking the NCAA rule. And I was like, what? Like, how's it breaking a rule? Because I'm coming to support the team. I can't play, but I guess I couldn't ride with them either. So, so I got dropped off at a 7-Eleven, 5 buses. And I remember one of the, I think it was the counselor at that time, team liaison or whatever you call him. Jim Booth, he got off and waited with me until somebody came to pick me up and stuff like that, man. And, I don't think my university really wanted to do it that way. They were just trying to protect the other players and stuff. But, it's just kind of crazy for all that to happen.
Yeah, man. Like over a financial advice, man. That and they were questioning because you got the Escalade car or whatever, or the Expedition. You said Expedition.
Yeah, Expedition. Well, I had an Escalade first. I had an Escalade first. I got rid of that and got me an Expedition. They said that my buddy told me the Escalade was a little too much, and I was like, well, all right, I'll downplay it. I'll downsize it. I'll choke it down a little bit, but. I mean, I could afford it at that time. I was making good money back then. I think I was making like $14, $15 an hour, 20 years ago.
That's a lot back then, because if you were making like that amount, that is above the minimum wage. But in today, it's barely minimum wage in California.
Exactly. And think about it. I'm in the South. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. Not to mention, I had other things that I would do. I go help people paint. All the kinds of stuff, and I had a little money saved up at that time anyway, before I even got the car. So, that's just the way it rolls. Obviously they don't have to deal with any of that kind of stuff these days because, now, the whole NIL deals thing is going on, but players have a lot more opportunities to do what they can do.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Oh, here's an interesting question because you played team twice a year. You played this Rams team twice a year. What was it like to play the greatest show on turf in 2001 and 2005?
Oh, shit. Listen, you know what? It was the greatest show on turf because, man, when I say it seemed like they were moving so damn fast out there, like, you had to literally have on the right shoes, everything, man. You couldn't waste any time with those guys out there. They literally were flying around the field like that, man. And then they had all the weapons, you know what I mean? Bruce, they had all the weapons. Fall, it was in Warner, all these guys, Bolger, you had guys, and I'm thinking that's the right time, yeah. They were just fast as shit out there on the field, man. I mean, it was just tough to keep up with them. It wasn't like playing on grass against other teams. It was like, man, you have minimal mistakes allowed, minimal time, any room for error, man. Like, they are flying out there. I still don't see, actually I take that back. Some games when the Green Bay Packers are really rolling with Aaron Rodgers, when they're really cooking out there, that's the closest thing I've seen to that. You know what I mean? The game's moving so quick. They're not wasting any time. But, yeah, it was definitely tough, man. Some really good football being played out there against those guys back then.
Yeah, they were. It kind of was like exactly how they were just like evolving the offense, and it's changed a little bit over the years. But when you look at the way how things have changed since college, since you were suspended over the financial advice or whatever, now they're giving college players the opportunity to get paid now. So it's like, what's your thoughts of it? Like 20 years later, now they're finally doing something about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to see the game evolve. You know, more than anything, I'm really happy to see the players be able to get a piece of the pie. You know, because I don't know if a lot of people realize it or not. You know, whether you're from a losing program, whatever the case. I'm sorry about that, man. My moms keep calling. I didn't get a chance to tell her I'm doing an interview. Don't quit calling me. Love you. But anyway, so there was you know, those guys are getting a good opportunity right now, man. You know, that piece of a pie, like I was saying, winning, losing, whatever kind of program you're coming from, the university gets a lot of cash. You know what I mean? So it's only you're getting a free education or whatever, but you're risking a lot out there. You know what I mean? And let's get this understood too. Those scholarships, you know what I mean? That money, you know, it's almost like a tax write-off for the university. So when people say, "Oh, well, they're getting a free education," well, hey, man, that was going to happen anyway. Those people, they were going to get that to somebody anyway. You know, there's many more programs a university has generally to give out scholarships and stuff as well. But now these players have an opportunity to create their own stream of income. They get a chance to publicize themselves as well. You know, I remember, you know, back in the day, you know, I'm jumping to the NFL, but I'm just using it for an example. Like NFL Network used to be the only cameras allowed into a locker room. Now a guy can have his own phone in the locker room filming stuff, which is a more in-depth look at what's going on in players' lives than what, you know, ESPN or any of those other guys are able to show. You know, you look at podcasting nowadays, you know, everything has evolved. Now there's different people being able to create their own streams of income, their own media platform in order for them to be able to potentially benefit off of it themselves. You know, and I'm happy about these guys in the NIL deals. I mean, hey, why not? You know, what's the problem with go ahead and letting them begin to jump in the game earlier, you know, when it comes to dealing with financial and having financial literacy. You can't learn financial literacy with no money.
Exactly. You're not wrong about that part. But like, you know, like most college players, I've seen some crazy stories about these certain players. Like Arian Foster had some struggles with financial, and he had to pitch in some extra money. But I guess, like you said, the rules have changed over the years. So, ooh, interesting question right here. Besides the Rams, which was team that you enjoyed playing against? I mean, there's got to be a team that you had fun the most.
I like playing the Panthers, the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers, man. Being I played weak side linebacker, it's kind of. I'll try explaining it. The type of plays that they run, if you're on your game, I mean, it's just smash day all day for you. You know, backdoor cuts, hit. They used to run a lot of screens. You know, they used to run a lot of draws and stuff, and it's just great for a weak side linebacker to play against that type of offense. And you know, the players, I like the players too back then. They talked a lot of trash, and you know, it was just a fun game. You know what I mean? It's kind of equally very, very balanced is what it really was. You know what I mean? It wasn't really one-sided, like, you know, like the Rams, you know, they're gonna fly, they're gonna throw the ball ASAP, you know. It wasn't like that. It's like, you know you're gonna get 50-50 pretty much throughout the entire game. And the scores usually ranged a little close. And plus, that was the first game that I started, the team that I played, the first game I started in. You know what I mean? I think that's when I, at that time, had set the rookie record for San Francisco, tackles by a rookie, which obviously, I think that was Patrick Willis later on broke that. But you know what I mean? It just was a fun team for me.
Oh, that was fun. I guess Carolina had something interesting with those tackling records like you were talking about. But, ooh, any Mike Singletary stories? I guess you were an opposing team after that. Like, I think you were playing for the Titans, right? For the Broncos?
No, I played with Mike Sing. Well, yeah, you're right. By that time, I had gone. Mike was the assistant head coach and linebacker coach when I was there at the 49ers. And then I went on I traded to Jacksonville, then went to Tampa, then to Denver and all of that. So around Denver was when I was, he was around that time, I believe. Mike Singletary was an intense guy, man. He and I didn't get along too well in the beginning. He was trying to change the form, the way that we played. And I was like, there's nothing really wrong with the way that we played. We just had a lot of injuries and stuff like that. I mean, don't get freaking pissed at us. I mean, you pay guys out there $30 million and they can't cover like that. You know what I mean? Don't get pissed off at us about that. And then they really wanted to bring their own guys in. But okay, here we go. They really wanted to bring their guys in. They were trying to move to like a 3-4 defense. You know what I mean? And that wasn't what our personnel was built off of for the past 10 years. You know what I mean? So we didn't get along on that part. But overall, I mean, Mike Singletary obviously is a Hall of Famer, great guy as far as, in the football world or whatever. We didn't, like I said, we didn't get along very well, outside the field or whatever. Probably why I ended up getting traded, with Mike Nolan or whatever. But I just didn't agree with a lot of the stuff that he was talking about. I think you were a great, great player, but as far as really, truly knowing some football and what you really can do, what you could do back then when you played, you can't do that today. That's not football is football. But listen, there's no Randy Moss. There wasn't Randy Mosses back then. You know what I mean? They were good players, but they weren't phenoms quite like this. And some of the techniques that he was trying to teach, that shit ain't gonna work on these guys out here. Like, that ain't gonna work, man. Like, you know what I mean? Why would you try to take the most? First of all, you're trying to take the most productive player on defense when you do the analytics. How many plays does he play versus how many plays that he makes, how many tackles he has, and all of that. You're trying to take the most productive guy and change his complete way of playing. And I just didn't agree with that, man. But as far as, like I said, man, in the football world, he's a great, good dude. I think he was just early on, learning how to become a coach. You know what I mean? That's what I really think it really was. He was just learning how to become a coach, and same with Mike Nolan, wasn't ready to be a head coach. He wasn't ready. He was a great defensive coordinator. But when you become a head coach, you have to know what kind of players that you have. You know what I mean? You can have this system that you're trying to implement, but because we didn't have such a winning record the year before they came in and really just put it to us like, you guys are really just some shit players. I'm going to toughen you up. I'm going to, like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, we don't really need all of that. We just need you to call some good damn play calls, and we're going to go out here and stay healthy, and we're going to win some games. But that wasn't the way they did it. They came in and really just tried to shit on players and just, oh, well, we come from this, and this is what we need to be doing. And, and that's fine, but, this is what you have, and this is what we got to win with. So you need to be seeing what we do well and conforming your scheme around what we do well. Because we play, you sit there and you make calls, but we play. So we need to be on the same accord, and that's just not what happened. That's why he got fired.
I mean, Mike Nolan was what he was, man. He just was the
he didn't win no damn games.
Nah, he was a defensive
That's
coach
my
at
point.
best. But the thing that stood out about him was he was just a defensive guy. He came from the same generation as his dad. His dad was a great coach back in the day, but he just couldn't do what his dad did. He was under a lot of pressure of living up to his dad's legacy, and it just wasn't for him. As far as like all that stuff, man, I think at the time you should have just kept Mariucci, man. Don't you agree? Or
Oh,
you thought?
man, so many days of my life, and I look at my pockets and say, I would have been very, very rich right now if we'd have fucking just kept Mariucci. I don't know what really went on with that, transpired, because we were doing good. You know, we didn't make it to where we wanted to be. But see, the difference, Mariucci was a coach that could stand the test of time. You know, they didn't even want listen, back then they didn't like players having dreads and all that shit back then. But now 85% of the league wears it. They didn't want nobody celebrating back when T.O. was playing. But Steve Mariucci didn't mind. You know what I mean? Like, he would have stood the test of time. And Mariucci was a player's dream as a head coach. He treated you like a man. He didn't really care about what you were doing outside of the field as long as you were staying out of trouble. And he pushed you to your max. He knew how to push you. He knew how to get a guy to do well. And one thing, let me tell you something about Steve that I like, and the difference between him and a guy like Mike Nolan. Mike Nolan came into the team and he immediately made the captains of the team, the leaders of the team, the big contract guys. But that don't have shit to do with who people really respect on the team. See, Mariucci knew the team. He would be in the locker room. He would be joking with us in there. He knew us. He knew if guys were having problems. He knew stuff about players. And that's what made us want to go out there and fight for the guy. And I hate that he wasn't able to continue to be the coach there, man. Because he was a tremendous coach, real good guy outside of the field as well.
I mean, he was definitely he had a good resume as far as a head coach because the offense was good under him. Even after Steve Young, they won games with Jeff Garcia, and Garcia was a pretty damn underrated quarterback, and people forget about how Mariucci made the most out of it. And he always made the team work out itself, like you said. But when it came to Mike Nolan, bro, I seen the attitude change right off the bat. Like, I don't know if these were true stories, but a lot of the locker room incidents between Mike Nolan and the rest of the coaching staff were going with the players. I don't know if that was true, but was there like any stories behind the scenes or not?
Man, listen, there was turmoil all the time. When I say all the time, it was just turmoil all the time. I remember myself getting in trouble with Mike Nolan because I would wear my suit and I call myself having style. So what I would do was, how people nowadays, and I was before my time probably, but he would say that I'd have to have a suit and a tie. And I was like, no problem. But I would wear my tie hanging down a little bit and my collar up on my shirt, kind of a, Hollywood type look. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, yeah. I got this shit from Hollywood. You know what I mean? That's where I was kicking it at. So I had a tie, and I remember him calling me to the office and saying, "You're just disrupting the team." And I was like, "What?" Because I'm wearing my collar and my tie like this. I said, "Listen, have you ever went in the locker room? Do you come and look around in the locker room before the game? People are coming by my locker saying, dapping me up before the game because they can look in my eyes and they know that 5-5 is going to be ready to play. I'm always the same in practice, all of that. You know what I mean? He was trying to disassociate me with the team, and then that's why he went on there telling all those freaking lies. Saying that, hey, Winborn was a disruption to the team, and then Derek Smith and Jeff Albrecht got on the paper and said, I don't know what the hell Mike Nolan's talking about. We love Jamie. That was in the paper. The players defended me. So it's like, dude, if you just don't like me, why don't you be a freaking man and come out of your mouth and say, I just don't like you. And then I'll say, okay, fine. We agree to disagree. Please trade me. But you traded me in my contract year. You made me go, you took me off the field for 5 weeks. All the teams are trying to trade for me. You wouldn't trade me. You just made me lose money, making $100,000 a freaking week. And everybody's like, oh, you're making $100,000. Well, you should be happy. No, I'm losing $300,000 a week every time he doesn't play me, and he won't say why. But you made people think that I was a problem for the team, which was just not the case. As you see, y'all still didn't win no games.
I mean, I just don't understand how some coaches don't put an explanation. Like, if you are like, if he says what he says, but if you can put him in his place, then he would understand the difference. But dude, I guess it had to do with the way he looked at you, and you might have rubbed him the wrong way. Like Mike Nolan was just
that's what it was. Listen, I was the brink of a new age, changing the game type of players. You see what I'm saying? That's just what it was. What do you look at? What do you see guys dressing like now?
They dress more like kind of like the way you were dressing, like, man. Like exactly. You were the trailblazer.
I was trailblazing, and I ran into an old school guy that didn't want to change anything up about the rules. And then first of all, that really wasn't a rule. That was just his preference. But I understand that. You know what I mean? I understand that if a guy's not doing what you want him to do, and I kind of get that. But where's the mindset to be open for the future? You got to be open for the future. Now these coaches, if you don't want to play no rap music in your locker room and all that shit, now you ain't gonna be on no team.
Yeah, you gotta have a different interest, but some people keep it to themselves and not start problems. That's the difference. Like, you're gonna work well with the team, you might as well just let it be what they are, man. Everybody has their different interests, but you got to work as a team.
And that's very, very true. But I mean, like I said, ultimately, he's a great defensive coordinator. He and I just had differences. You know what I mean? I've been forgiving him for, what I felt like he put out fake news on me and cost me a lot of money. I've been forgiving him for that. And whenever I do speak about him, I say, hey, now he's a hell of a top tier defensive coordinator. And, actually was a pivoting point in my life where I had to begin to deal with somebody and to that point, to that nature, what that situation and what happened. I really grew a lot as a man in saying, hey, what could I have controlled? So, and I look back on it and I say, hey, yeah, maybe I would have did some stuff different, this and that. But then I say, you know what? Fuck it. No, I wouldn't. Because that was my life. That was me. I was trying to express myself, where I come from and what I want to do as far as enjoying the moments of being a professional football player. Because the 49ers were great to me. You know what I mean? They could have chose anybody else and they chose me. You know what I mean? So I'm forever grateful to the organization, Dr. Yor, all of those guys. Those are all great people, man. And, the Barlows, everybody's great people up there. Great organization, though.
I mean, they took a chance on you and you became exactly what you are. But, I don't get why they would put you in the top of the list of a bus. I thought you were really a good player, bro. You were a good player who did the job. Some people, maybe it was your injuries here and there, but I felt like you were very consistent and you were making some plays when it mattered.
Yeah, I definitely did. I mean, listen, man, I got respect from guys all around the league. You know what I mean? So I really don't give a shit what a critic says. You know exactly. What I mean? I can call guys on the phone and guys we talk personally. They know if I wasn't injured, I was the guy. I was the guy. Now the injuries, you know what I mean? That's part of the game. You know what I mean? And especially the injuries I had, they weren't even really playing football in the football game. Injuries, like I get hurt on a tackle. I'm getting ready. I've already made the tackle. Another guy's wrestling with a guy and he throws a guy on my leg. Something like, it was those type of injuries. Then I had the neck injury, but hey, I mean, if, people are entitled to think what they want to think, you know what I mean? But I know I helped my team. I gave my team 100%. And that's all that really matters in my mind.
It's all about giving it all you got and you put it on the field, man. And
listen. This is the thing. You can't take they listen. I had the same neck injury that Peyton Manning had, and they made all that hoopla about he's such a giant for playing with this and all that. Man, that's a crock of shit. Now, I mean, he's a good player. He's fucking Peyton Manning. But come on, he plays quarterback. Man, I smashed every day in practice, games, all that with the same damn neck injury. That's how I won the Ed Block Courage Award for the 49ers. You know what I mean? So don't tell me they can never say I wasn't giving it all I had for them and that I was a bust or any of that. I came back and led them in tackles with a neck with a metal plate and 4 screws in my neck.
Exactly, you know what I will say, man. Like, you're kind of the most underrated player on the team, dude. Like, you played through the injuries, and see, you were playing through a neck issue, and similar to what you said about Peyton Manning, but you played through it, and you've earned every right for it, man. Like, you earned the Ed Block Award, and it takes a lot of guts and consistency. I mean, if you were healthy, bro, I would think you would be definitely in a discussion with the top of the Niners, bro. But as far as all that, you can say Derek Smith was consistent as hell, bro.
Listen, Derek is a freaking beast.
Before there was a Patrick Willis, there was a Derek Smith that was all over the field.
And they don't talk about him as much as people should, because he was consistent, he stayed healthy, and he'd knock your block off. And he made a hell of a lot of plays out there, hell of a lot of tackles, all of that. And he was a leader for us. He wasn't the most vocal leader all the time because he led with his actions. He was just like BY. He just led with his actions. He was always consistent for us. I learned a hell of a lot from that guy. You know what I mean? When we first got there, we didn't click all that much. You know what I mean? Because, I'm pizzazz and all this. And he's just, blue collar worker. I work hard. That's it. You know what I mean? But I had to get a little bit of his recipe to add to mine to make me become a better player. You know what I mean? And I appreciate Derek for that for the rest of my life. I mean, he's definitely an underrated player, for the Niners. He was a man inside there. We never had to worry about that. You know what I mean? That tells you how good he was. We didn't even have to talk about what's going on in the middle of the defense. Hell, he's the guy there. That's what it is. We just had, at that time, we had so many players that could play, we end up having to try to rotate guys.
Yeah, you guys had to rotate some guys. Like, you had Jeff Albrecht out there, who was a defensive coordinator right now. I mean, currently with the Jets. But yeah, you had like a lot of guys who can play. Like, JP was an all-around player, Mr. Versatile. I mean, he's a hybrid position. Before then, you didn't have a lot of those players like that. Today's NFL, you're getting a lot of those JPs now. So I think people forget that JP was original.
Hold up. Let me correct you there. I still don't see any JPs out there.
Oh, okay. So in those, it's still rare because you don't get a guy who rushes the passer. But I get it, man. That's your boy.
No. That's just not my boy. I got the tape. I got a bucket full of that shit sitting right over there. I'm gonna tell you. There's name. Okay, you got guys who are great pass rushers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just gonna jump out there. TJ Watt, right?
He's a different kind of guy that can get to the quarterback.
That's what he does. But you wouldn't line him up on a receiver and call lock and have him man-to-man on him. You won't take him out there and put him on Kyle Pitts.
That would be JP.
But that's JP. What outside backer now goes to guard Kyle Pitts? Every time Kyle Pitts goes out there, it's a damn safety.
Yeah, that's true. I like how you correct me on that one, because I think about it.
I played this game and I know this game and I watched the tape and I have watched plenty of players. There was a reason why he was the highest paid linebacker at one point. It wasn't because of the hype, because he was never the political hype guy. He was flat out locking down Tony Gonzalez, Heap, Crumpler. Who else do we want to go to? There were great Mercedes Lewis, Shockey. You know what I mean? Winslow's, all this shit. Like, this guy was locking these guys up. And then going down, putting his hand down in the dirt and getting sacks. Standing behind the ball, making plays. JP's been at safety. He's even lined up at corner at cover 2 corner out there. None of them guys these days can do that. Still to this day, they don't do what he did. And that's why I say that, because I make that argument with people all the time about what kind of guy this guy really was. Like, I have not seen anybody still to this day who's able to do what you want. You ain't taking Patrick, you ain't taking Warner out there and you're not gonna put Warner out there on my man from Florida in Atlanta, on Kyle Pitts. They're checking that shit. They're putting a safety on him.
You know what? You're right about it, man. It's like you don't see linebackers go into coverage like the way JP does it, man. Like you said that there was a time JP had some stats in junior college where he had receiving yards and all that stuff.
9 catches for 187 yards and 3 touchdowns. 8 sacks on defense, playing defensive end and playing every snap of the game.
That's hard to get, man. And then speaking of JP, man, we were supposed to get this guy, but let's make a strong case for JP's induction, man. Like, should he even get in the Hall of Fame? Because I feel like a guy like him should get in. Like, if
you know what, he and I had this discussion earlier, and he was saying, he was like, man, it'll be tough because I don't have any Super Bowls. And I said, true. Yeah, you may be right, but the first step before any of that is there's no way in hell that my man. First of all, and I love Patrick Willis, right? That's my man. That's my man. Like, I think he's probably he's probably the best true stand-up linebacker, behind the ball linebacker I ever seen play. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. He's behind the ball linebacker. I ain't talking about putting your hand in the dirt, which excludes JP and all that. When it comes to a true linebacker behind the ball, I don't think there's a better guy than Patrick Willis, right?
No, Willis is one of those quick ones, yeah.
But I think Julian Peterson should have been in the Ring of Honor before Patrick Willis.
You're right about that part, because you look at JP, yes. You look at the way he played it, man. Like, I guess there's just not much of guys like him at all. Like, you don't even see another one. Like, if we can find another JP in this league, man, then that's a secret weapon on defense. You get a guy who can cover, put his hand on the dirt, man, and do it all, bro. That's what I like about JP. JP was straightforward about what he told me. And JP said it best, bro. He said it that he doesn't think there's anybody like him close.
There isn't.
And he said Tony Gonzalez was nothing to him. He said he covered Tony like it was nothing.
Man, it wasn't. I was there. And then when I went to the Falcons, me and Tony used to eat lunch together when I tried out for the Falcons in my 9th year. After I left, where did I leave? I forgot where I left. Houston or one of the two, I forget. But anyway, me and Tony used to sit and talk all the time. And he'll tell you that was one of his most toughest opponents. And I know you have to say it's your toughest opponent because you probably only had 1 or 2 catches on him in multiple games. I remember when Tony breaks out of the huddle and we got a man called or any of that, we have a whole check system where we reroute everything. Julian goes where Tony goes. It doesn't matter. And Tony, matter of fact, Jules had a couple picks. You know what I mean? Like, this dude is crazy out there, man. Still nobody can do what he did. We could you find me a guy that somebody thinks can do it, and we'll go get Julian's film and put his film right beside that, and we'll see what matters. We're not talking about this politics shit that's going on. They only show this player, all of this stuff, man. Who cares about that part? Let's get the real behind the scene back copy to see every play that you do. And there's nobody that compares to what this guy can do. You know what I mean?
It's hard to compare the difference because when JP played that position, he played it like where nobody has seen this position before. And it's hard to like look at the way he covered, like a guy that covered tight ends. He's got the speed and you could put the guy on the dirt to just rush the passer. I mean, JP is a 5-time Pro Bowler. He is one of the best pure positions that you don't ever see often. So I guess
Absolutely.
You put it generational talent. See, this is what the NFL doesn't have is another JP, man. If you get more of those JPs in the world, man, your defense going to look good.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to tell you the closest thing that came to Julian Peterson may have been Julius Peppers, who had because both of them were crazy basketball players as well, right?
They both look alike, but just a little shorter.
Yeah, exactly. But they never put Julius Peppers behind the ball, so that's why I couldn't say he could do that because he wasn't there. You know what I mean? He never got to. They never played him like that. But there was plans of Jules playing tight end. He got hurt that year. Then we got all this coaching switch shit and all this. But Julian was supposed to be helping out at tight end for us, running routes and receiving. Like we did it at practice. Like this guy's phenomenal, man. You know what I mean? What DN you got going running receiver routes? What linebacker runs receiver routes? And when he runs these routes, like he's a threat. Like I don't want to cover him. You know what I mean? Like he was like that. You know what I mean? And and I mean I'm not just saying that. I know a lot of people like, hey man, well that's your boy. You feel? I said, listen, man. I watched all the linebackers. Listen, what do you think I used to do? I used to go home. I used to watch Ray. I used to watch all these guys that they say are this and that, and I used to watch all of their games. I wanted to learn how I could take some of their game, implement it in mine. Zach Thomas, all these guys. I watched all Briggs, all of these guys. You know what I mean? And he's that guy when it comes to being able to do all of the all around things. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna tell it like it is. Now, once again, in my opinion, straight up stand behind the ball, linebacker, flow, make plays, all of that. Patrick Willis, in my opinion, is the best I ever seen. The ferociousness, he'd knock a lineman out. Stand straight here, knock a lineman out. You know what I mean? Throw him out of the way, make a tackle, rush the passer, catch the ball, interception, return skills back, hawk a guy down. He was the god. He looked like a god. He played like a god of a god. You know what I mean? I want the jersey. I just DM'd him the other day and said, hey, man, I need that. He was doing something, said 52 days to football with his jersey up. And I said, no, I need that jersey. You know what I mean? I'm a fan.
I mean, dude, like he just was one of those speedy linebackers, and it's just like the way he played it. Patrick Willis was just a different type of level. Like, but then you had JP who did everything, so I don't think Willis was the kind of guy to do that. But like you said, Willis was more like an overall great linebacker. JP was just an all-around complete athlete that can do everything at linebacker and D-line. So it's like you can put him at safety.
Absolutely. And I mean, and let me take something I said back. When I say before Patrick Willis went up, I think they both deserve to be up there. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying anything that Patrick has done or any of that. I'm just going by when they played there and then, and then they came. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going by. But alongside a guy like Willis, you have a generational talent like Julian Peterson that needs to be up there. I mean, soon as Fred Warner gets out, he's going to be up there.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
He came into college as a safety playing a little with the coverage, but now he's transitioning that skill set to the next level. So he was like when you look at a lot of them,
he was okay as coming out of college. He got something happen. He got to the pros. He got an opportunity. In every game, he got better and better and better and better. And I mean, it was just amazing to see. You know what I mean? He led, you know what I mean? He became the lead, all of that. That's just what the kind of guy he is. And he's definitely a smart linebacker. And he's huge. He's a lot bigger. Man, he was so much. Listen, when I came out there, I think it was 17, 18, I don't know, to be the honorary coach. Honorary captain. They were playing the Cardinals. And he just they threw some ball and he come running by me. And I was like, I thought this guy was 6'1", 6 feet, 261. This dude is in his pads and with his helmet and everything. The dude looks like he's about fucking 6'5". He's a monster and a hell of a player, man.
Yeah, he's big than most linebackers if you look at it, like 6'3", 240 or 230. But this guy, he plays smart and he plays with a different intensity. So it's like I like that he's a leader of this defense. Then you got this one kid named Dre Greenwall. I think when healthy, this guy is reliable, undersized linebacker, but gets the job done.
No, yeah, Greenlaw's a beast too. Now, I mean, when I talk about guys, those guys, they're great. They're good players as well. You know what I mean? But there's a difference, and I'm all about the itty bitty linebackers. I'm all for the short guys, the not so typical size linebacker guy. I'm always a fan of us. But I know why a guy that's 6'3", 240 is gonna be a projected more likely longevity player. He'll last longer. There's just no secret. Generally, they will. You know what I mean? And he's that guy. You know what I mean? Now, Fred plays like he's 5'11". I mean, when I say like how he can move and get around guys and get back into the play, he moving like he 5'11", but he's fucking 6'3". You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is.
He can really play. You know what I mean? I put him up there too as one of the better linebackers that I've seen. It's just that Patrick Willis's ferociousness was just so of another level. I mean, when the guy come out and he scream and his biceps bulging out, like it's like what you draw up on a cartoon as a linebacker. And he plays even better than he looks. So that's why I say that. But Fred Warner, I mean, definitely top linebacker in the league, man. I mean, great player. I love the way he leads. I can see his smartness just by watching him play. I see what he's seeing. And I see some things he sees. He saw something that I didn't even see. And hell, he saw it and he was on the field. He didn't have to be watching it on film. He's a great player too, man. I'm really happy about us, man. I think we got a good damn chance this year, man. I just wish people would stop. I want to keep Garoppolo. You know what I mean? I don't know what the hell people talking about, all that hoopla and all that shit. Listen, let Trey Lance see what he can do because he presents the triple threat. If he gets in trouble, then you put Jimmy in there. It's now they have a whole nother game to try to prepare for. You know what I mean? I just wish there was a way to do everybody. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just want them Niners to win, and that's the end of it. Because I got a lot of stuff to talk, a lot of shit to talk to these guys. I got neighbors that talk shit all the time. They got flags and shit hanging up in the yards right now talking shit.
Man, that's cold, man. And you were a former player of the Niners, and they're talking smack on you, man.
One thing they don't like me in the Falcons because when Matt Ryan I was playing with Denver, and Matt Ryan won every home game he had as a rookie except one.
Was against you.
Exactly. Player of the game. And I make sure I put it and show it to them when they get to drinking beers over there and going crazy. Hey, hold up. Look at this. And they just hate it.
Hey, you're the best at it, man. I guess they gotta hate the fact that you just want to shove it to their face. Say, hey, I did this.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, man, I'm 49er. They know what's up with me. That's who gave me an opportunity, man. That's who took a small town kid from Vanderbilt, from Wetumpka, Alabama, and said, hey, we see something in this guy. So they believed in me. I mean, so I of course I'm gonna ride with the Niners forever.
Yeah, because that's a team that took a chance on you. That's a team that believed in you, and
exactly.
You don't look back at it, man. You had a great career, and it just you were an undersized guy, but you made up for it, man. You had a blue chip on your shoulder, and you played with it like every day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just grateful for the opportunity, man. And like you said, man, I'm happy with how things turned out. I of course I'd have wished to been able to do this, that. But, the game of football is just like the game of life. It's just ups and downs. And, hey, some people just become billionaires and all that good stuff. I wasn't 6'3", 240, nothing like that. I made the best of what I could do. I tried to help the team win some games. And, I had a great experience, and I'm just grateful, for God to have blessed me with the chance and put it in the 49ers to say, hey, take a chance on this kid right here.
Yeah, take a chance on a kid from Vanderbilt, and he became exactly what we needed.
Yes, sir.
But hey, man, definitely appreciate you on the show, man. I know you already got some stuff doing. I know you've been getting your call from your mom, so I don't want to make it a little bit more longer. But hey, maybe at some point you can send me an autograph, bro, because I appreciate your time. Like, dude, you were just, dude, on Madden, I played you at times, and you were just on the plays.
Oh, like, yeah. I was busy on Madden. I was busy on there, man. But I'll definitely get you the autograph or whatever you need, man. I'm gonna be coming out to the Bay Area quite a bit this year, hopefully, and checking some games out and stuff, and checking on the fellas and stuff. So maybe I'll see you around out there.
All right, man. Appreciate it, man. But as always, everybody, CG Ruthless is out, and Jamie Winborn is out. We'll see you guys next time.
All right.